Scouting is hard. We don't have this figured out even at the advanced college player. Like the advanced college player, like there's a wide range of outcomes. And then this list is really long. Like I remember watching in that 2019 draft, I remember I saw Hunter Bishop play against Adley Rushman. And Hunter Bishop hasn't like gone on, but man, was that electric to watch. Was that just like, how could this not work? He was making good swing decisions. He was striking out a little bit, and that's I've deeper appreciation for high percentage of strikeouts translating into big league ball. But it was just electric. It's like you hope this works, because if you insert that, that's like, and it didn't work out that way. This is a college player playing in a big conference, having big numbers against good competition, but there's other things going on as well. So scouting to me is hard. We get these wrong all the time, and the younger we do it, the more we get them wrong. But even that shows you, if we're still getting college advanced players not perfect, imagine a 15 or a 14-year-old kid, 15-year-old kid, 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid. And this arc of 7 years in advance, it's hard, man. Like the scouts have a really tough job, and they have to say things with a lot of conviction when you don't know. You have to say and speak with conviction like but a lot of times you can't truly know what's going on between the ears of a kid or with a family, or if there's how does this kid, who's in his ear? What's he prioritizing? What's his base education level? Is he able to absorb? Is he speaking English yet? Like all these things can throttle up or throttle down a career. And I don't know, that's why I love scouting, because it's hard as hell. And any scout will sit here and tell you. Some are like, oh, okay, that guy's really good. But Skubal's in the 9th round, by the way. The 9th round of a draft, like you got to have some good processes to clip this or catch this, or a good scout that identified, it's still making a case for the player. I think that's underrated too. In a draft room, once you get past a certain point in the draft, let's say the 7th round, now you start evaluating your own scouts. Be like, which of my internal, even though the process or the model is saying this guy is at the top, who are my better scouts that are giving me like, hey, I really like this guy, he's still available here. That sort of stuff starts to increase in the room, and there's a subjective nature to it. Like a scouting director can really benefit from like, all right, do I have a veteran scout that's taken players here before that is really advocating or fighting for this player? That can like kind of get one of your players picked in a draft room, right? As opposed to a rookie scout doing it for the first time. Are you going to like put all your chips in that basket? Maybe the model says do it anyway. But that's interesting too. Like the scout that has to make a case for the player that it wants selected. And models have been marginalizing this a little more and a little more. You get deeper into the draft with your model. But the model maybe showed Skubal here. Sometimes it happens where the area scout doesn't have him in high. And the analytics group comes in and be like, hey, look at this guy still available right now. Take that one. And then the scouting director will make their choice. But it comes down to some kind of scouting no matter what. And a lot of the time, makeup is only like the competitor stuff, the between the ears, the gut feel, good face, all these things that we talk about. That's the scout. That's a very human touch. It's hard for the model to grab or wrap its arms around. So, I'm sure the scout that had Tariq Skubal is like, yeah, man, there was something in there. This guy was different. And maybe the stuff or the strikes weren't good enough at that point. But he's the number 1 pitcher in baseball right now out of the 9th round of a major league. 9th round, just for reference, 9th round isn't like other places. This is the 255th pick in the draft. 254 guys were deemed more valuable as a long-term bet than Tariq Skubal. And we sit here today, he's the number 1 pitcher on everybody. Like if you had a fantasy draft of all GMs, how high would this guy go right now? Pretty high. And he was a college player. So it tells us we don't have this shit figured out.
And the other side is Skeens, who is probably the most sure thing there was, and it panned out. So it's like all the way in between. What gets me is when you get to those middle rounds, is it the tiny percent that the guy could be a superstar, or do you go with maybe a higher percentage that the guy will be a regular? Like in other words, you say, hey, listen, I want to swing huge on this pick. I know it's probably not going to work out, but if it hits, we're going to look like geniuses. Or, hey, this pick has a pretty good chance of being somebody that we can at least put on a lineup card.
it's where subjectivity gets introduced. If you ask me, I want upside all the way through. Like chase upside with every pick that you have, like best possible scenario. But your team also has, like, maybe you're historically really good at selecting this profile. Accommodate for that into your draft. There's a diversity of like type of pick in a draft. Whereas if you get 2 high upside guys with your first 2, maybe the safer bet is to like stack a few college bats that are safer. Although safer usually ends up not being safer.
Oh yeah.
There's no such thing as a safe major league bet, even at the top of collegiate baseball. That doesn't really exist. Therefore, I think you should chase the upside. Now, I was always more or less more inclined to take the risk on the player. That doesn't always benefit you. You know, that doesn't. I would have been the type. I was excited and still wish that the Lewis Brinson, Monte Harrison, Isan Diaz, like those were exciting players. It didn't work out. I was like not like the scouting went a different direction. But I lean more on that side of like chasing the upside because I think it's the only way to get it. Now, other models that are more conservative and more like, no, this has a higher percentage of working out. That also works. I think the teams that do both, that are nimble enough to do both, are the ones that are the most successful. I think the Dodgers do this really well. They chase high upside players, but their process is they can select from an already filtered pool of really good high upside players that are also already like between the buoys of like, okay, this is a low probability of this not working out because he does this, and this. And then we're going to shoot for best player and highest athleticism within that. They can do that because they have the patience at the big league level that have a relevant major league team. Sometimes you have to pick in the draft to supplement a shorter window. So you pick up a college player. You're not going to stack that draft with all high school picks. But then you have guys like Bobby Witt that just get there out of high school in no time. I would say those guys are more obvious, but the big leagues is littered, like we've talked about, top of their position players that weren't top of their position draftees, international signings. This happens rampantly in Latin America. We're just doing a longer projection window. So it's Ronald Acuna, 100 grand, Luis Castillo, 15. We can go on this journey for a long time. I don't have Maikel Franco's bonus offhand, but I don't think it was very high either. So scouting's hard.